As I look out among you this morning, I think everyone here is from our congregation. But if by chance I do not see you in a box and you have landed upon us this morning, welcome, and we are glad to have you with us. This is the day of the church year that we kind of gather in what we call an annual meeting. So my sermon this morning really is going to be a first part of a report of reflecting back over our last year. We heard this morning, if I speak in tongues of mortals and of angels, we do not have love. I am a noisy gong or a clanging cymbal. If I have prophetic powers and understand all mysteries and all knowledge, and if I have all faith, so as to remove mountains, but do not have love, I am nothing. If I give away all my possessions, and if I hand over my body so that I may boast, but do not have love, I gain nothing. So often we concentrate on the beautiful words that Catherine read for us this morning. The second part, we've heard it at weddings. We've heard it so often, and yet so often we don't recognize that Paul is really kind of trying to let people know, kind of giving them a pep talk, but not in the kindest way sometimes. He's like, you can do all this stuff, but if you don't have love, what's going to happen? If I do not have love, I gain nothing. We gather each year to review the previous year, to thank those that have served and confirm plans for the year to come. This is an important ritual of the church, one that marks not only the mission and ministry of St. Thomas, but also the leadership and work that goes into making this community of faith work and function. We could have prophetic powers and know and understand all mysteries. We could be really good at running things, but if we don't have love, we're going to be left empty and longing and broken. Here we are, January 2022. I still feel like I'm in a Jetsons show saying that. 2022, whoever would have thought? We find ourselves continuing to find our way in a pandemic that seems to go on and on. We find ourselves often trying to struggle or figure out what ways to gather, ways to be there for each other, and sometimes even ways to be there for ourselves. But today, in spite of the many challenges we face, we are here to give thanks for the many blessings that we have, and we have so many. There will be so many that we won't be able to talk about this morning. We're here to share and hold up the amazing spirit, love, commitment, and passion that is all of you. It is all of you. The amazing spirit, love, commitment, and passion that is God working through us in ways that are exciting and grace-filled. We are a community that loves deeply. We love God, and we experience signs of that every day. As Episcopalians, we often find a wide variety of theologies about how to do that, or what that means, or if it's really love, or if that's really what it's supposed to do. There's an old saying that if you had ask Episcopalians around a table and ask them all a question, you will get different answers from every single one. But central to our answer needs to be love, and I believe it is. We continue to find ways to pray together, to learn, discern together, and serve in a variety of all different ways. I hope some of you have read or will read. You're snowed in. You have plenty of time to read all of our reports that have all been done, and thank you all for getting them in on time, and for Kathy for putting them all together. So you've been able to have a chance to really look at them. But even as COVID-19 has continued far beyond what many of us had ever dreamed, we continue to work together to be church here at St. Thomas. Church as a verb, not as a noun. A few things I would like to hold up that reflect how we are learning to thrive in new ways. Kai and Kevin will give us the financial reports later in the meeting, and please read the wonderful narrative that accompanies this report. But please note that the year 2021, not only did we meet our pledge amount, and I say we, I mean you, but all of us, we went over in 2021. People of St. Thomas, this is amazing. Over half of our returning pledge units increased their pledge for the coming year, and we have 6 new pledging units. I have the privilege of serving on diocesan council and serve the bishop in other ways around the church. And let me share with you that many, many churches across traditions are not experiencing this as normative. We are, our experience with your willingness to support this congregation is special, and it stands out right now. And I just want you to hear how I could go on for far too long about the reports I hear from so many other great churches with great people and this has been an incredibly hard time, and we've been able to stay together. If we don't have love, we have nothing. The vestry is your governing board. It is a group of people that are committed to working with your rector, that in itself is a challenge, to oversee the governance of the church. Your vestry has continued to grow in their relationships with each other, with God, and with the church. They have been hard, honest, and challenging discussions. These have been done with mutual respect, a discerning ear, and the firm foundation that we are called to lead for the greater whole, not for ourselves individually, but for you, for God. The clear and grounded leadership of this team has been a significant reason that we are able to move through this pandemic as a community, not divided, but together as a community of faith. Today, Kevin Gorham steps down as senior warden. It is time for him to take a well-deserved break. The good news is that he is not going anywhere. And Kevin will continue to serve on the finance committee and the property committee. He has volunteered to mentor Jeremy Plant, who with your help will be voted in as senior warden later this morning. Kevin will also continue to work on worship, planning, and leadership. Kevin will continue to be a strong presence in the ministry and life of our church family. But I'd like to take a moment of personal privilege to thank Kevin personally for the many blessings that he has brought to me and my ministry. On my final day at St. John's, my previous parish, I received an email from Kevin that afternoon. He just said he was thinking of me and he hoped it had gone well. He knew how much I loved and cared for them. He just knew that it was a hard morning, even though I was so excited, over the moon happy to come be your priest. He knew from that time forward, Kevin has always been there for me, to be my sounding board, to give me feedback when I've needed it. And trust me, if you've met me, you know I've needed it. To be a true partner in our ministry. Kevin is a born leader, a leader that breeds trust, a leader that calls us to ask the hard questions, and one that will go to any length to be there for his church family. My guess is that's true for all of people in his life. Kevin helped lead you all through the troubled waters, which were many. Kevin will continue to be a leader in our church family, but on this day, let us give thanks, so many thanks, for the blessing of his ministry on the vestry as he takes this break. And Kevin, I want to thank you from the bottom bottom of my heart. So back to, if we do not have love, we have nothing. This year, we have seen the development and expansion of a pastoral care committee and the outreach committee. Nancy Hunt and Catherine Laganati's leadership in these areas has been amazing and a blessing. For years, people at St. Thomas have been pastoring and caring for others in many different ways. Through Dover Cooperative Ministries and individuals caring for each other. But with the formation of these two committees, we are forming an infrastructure that allows us to start to coordinate and support each other's efforts. We are able to include people that wanted to participate but weren't really sure how. Please take time to read both of their reports on the many ways these two ministries are thriving. Love incarnate continues to be made manifest in so many ways. Leading during these times has been a daunting challenge, I won't lie. Many days it feels like I need to learn how to do my work in a completely different way. It also seems that just when I figure out how something works or which way to do it, then it all changes. We have gone from learning online worship to screaming from church. I have done that, but not in your presence. Streaming from church to being in person and online. Now we have a screen in the sanctuary, and this is a whole new learning curve. But each step along the way, we have been in this together. Each step along the way, we have felt God's presence and your support. We have truly found ways to be church that we never dreamed of. Your willingness to be open, to be flexible, to find ways to connect with each other and with God is inspiring. This is a community that loves deeply. As we continue to build our infrastructure, we will continue to find ways to embody that love more freely. We are learning to thrive as opposed to survive. We are learning to live. We're learning to love. There are so many people in ministries that I can't name, or I would you would all just find the delete button. But I know that your work, your care and passion for St. Thomas is a blessing. Know that each one of you, the gifts, talents, and passion that you bring to your day matter. Each morning as I close morning prayer, remind us that we are loved beyond our wildest imagination by God, that we are loved. That is why we are finding ways, regardless of outside circumstances, to thrive. When I got here, and I'm in my 4th year, believe it or not, when I got here, I said that we were going to open the doors and windows, that we were going to share the blessing and the light that is St. Thomas Episcopal Church. I said that you were keeping one of the greatest blessings in Dover's locked up and closed and nobody could see it, that you didn't want to. But if we were going to go down, if this ship was going to go down, we were going to go down with the doors and the windows open. We have much work to do, my friends. But we have taken the old plastic off the first window. I know there's a technical term for that, but go with me here. We have let the light out and we are letting the light in, one window at a time. We're doing that not because we are any different than you were before, but because we are going to be brave. We are going to love God enough to let other people know that we are here. We are going to let the light shine out of this. We took the covering off one window, we put a new covering on it, a light was put behind it, a light that shone through in a new way. And it's absolutely perfect that for you that don't know this, the light, of course, Kevin had procured the light was propped up on a, Robert Steele, you'll get a kick out of this, was propped up on a folding chair on one of the pews pointing. I mean, because that's kind of where we are, people. We're kind of propped up. We're not duct taped together anymore, but that light wasn't maybe quite mounted yet, but the light is there You can see it from outside. So let this be a sign of things to come. Let this be a light to the community and to all of us, that with love, we can continue to shine. And as so many of you have heard before, I want to end this morning because I could say so much more. A quote that I'm sure most of you, if not all of you, have heard from Amanda Gorman. But I think the light in our little window, it's not a little window, but is a beginning. It's an outward, we're big Episcopalians. We're all about outward and visible signs. And we heard her say, "For there is always light. If only we're brave enough to see it. If only we're brave enough to be it." Thank you for being brave. Thank you for being who you are. And as you know, we're as infallible as we all are, myself included. We are pitching. And for that, God is smiling. Thank you for your leadership, for your ministry, for your persistence, for your generosity. Thank you for being the Episcopal Church of St. Thomas in Dover.